All right, what's up, class? So today I picked the activity where we're supposed to pick a part of the brain that we're interested in, and the part that I like the most that I wanted to talk about today was it's called the amygdala. And as we learned in the book, it's a structure in the limbic system involved in our experience of emotion and tying emotional meaning to our memories. So this is it's a really interesting part about the brain. So amygdala. So I learned they call it that because when they first recognized it, it looked kind of like an almond. After having studied it a lot more, they realized there's lots more structure to it, but that's where it gets its name from. Um, it's located. If imagine if we so I researched. Imagine if you were to go straight back from your eye and straight in from your ear, and where they meet, that's where in the general area where the amygdala is, and so from Healthline, I found an article and it was saying, it just kind of explaining what the amygdala is, and it says the amygdala is a collection of cells near the base of the brain. There are two, one in each hemisphere or side of the brain. So there's one on each side. This is where emotions are given. Or this is where emotions are given meaning, remembered, and attached to associations and responses to them, or emotional memory. So I thought that was really interesting that we have a part of our brain, like you think of all these memories that we have, you know, we have them, and that's like personally I didn't think much else of them, but this is where they're stored, I guess. So this is where they're given emotions are given meaning and they're remembered. Like this is where memories are stored, and this is how they're made because the amygdala it's a collection of cells that it stores them for us. It's also like it makes connections. So like imagine you hear a sound and like something around you, and something painful happens right after that. Like imagine you hear a car horn or something like that, and then immediately after you get to a crash. So when next time you hear a car horn, you're going to associate that with your crash, and you're going to remember that because it was given that memory or that emotion, like whether you were frightened or you were like and then like the pain that you felt right after that, all those emotions are going to be associated with that sound. Or like imagine like you go to a place to eat or something like that, and you had like it's your favorite place to eat. You're gonna when you go to that place again, whether it's been years, where the emotions that you felt there, whether it was excitement or just pure happiness, or you just remember feeling starving there, like that's stored in the amygdala, and you're gonna go back there subconscious, like without even really, you're not gonna like make yourself go back there. The amygdala is already gonna have it. So that's where those memories are collected. The amygdala is considered to be a part of the brain's limbic system. It's key to how you process strong emotions like fear and pleasure. And this was something I thought was really interesting. It continues, the Healthline article continues, and it says it's about fight or flight. It says early humans were exposed to the constant threat of being killed or injured by wild animals or other tribes. To improve the chances of survival, the fight or flight response evolved. It's an automatic response to physical danger that allows you to react quickly without thinking. When you feel threatened and afraid, the amygdala automatically activates the fight or flight response by sending out signals to release stress hormones that prepare your body to fight or run away. This response is triggered by emotions like fear, anxiety, aggression, and anger. So fight or flight has always interested me. It's interesting how different we are, but yet how similar we are, because we all have this reaction. We all have an amygdala, and it's that reaction in our brain that tells us whether we're going to run or whether we're going to fight, what we're going to do. And I thought it was interesting. It's triggered by emotions like fear, anxiety, aggression, and anger. So when we get into these moments, these high intensity moments that nobody sees coming, it just catches you off guard, and it's super frightening, it makes that decision your brain makes that decision to react really quickly without thinking much. And it's evolved over time, and it's gone differently. Obviously, we're not really constantly threatened about being killed by wild animals or other tribes, but like we still have that fight or flight response, whether we're driving or whatever ever else it is. Maybe you do feel threatened by being eaten by wild animals. So I found this other article from the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences in the United States of America, and it's called "Facing the Role of the Amygdala in Emotional Information Processing." So it's talking about the amygdala and how it's commonly referred to as like where like how we feel fear. It's directly associated with fear. It's talking about how, so it says the neurobiology of social information processing provides a fascinating window to human nature and how primate brains evolved to deal with challenges of living in large social groups. Faces and facial expressions of emotions are critical for social identification and for modulation of appropriate responding in social situations. So it's talking about how it also deals with like how we react in certain situations. So the amygdala is commonly thought to form the core of the neural system for processing fearful and threatening stimuli, including detection of threat and activation of appropriate fear-related behaviors in response to threatening or dangerous stimuli. Thus, it is a natural candidate for a neural structure that could modulate the emotional responsiveness of face processing areas of the brain. So I thought that was interesting. That's like, it goes back to the fight or flight response. It's a core for detection of threat and activation of appropriate fear-related behaviors. So when fear strikes us, and our behavior comes right after that, that's all part of our amygdala. That's a part of what of where we get that response. So I also thought it was interesting. The last article I found, I'll just be really quick. It's from also the Proceedings of National Academy of Sciences of the United States of America, about the involvement of the amygdala in memory storage, and there's extensive evidence that the amygdala is involved in effectively influenced memory. So it's just that's where it's stored. Memories that we have, like kind of what I was saying, since the amygdala is closely associated with other key parts of our brain, like the hippocampus, that's where it can make these connections, and it can store like these different emotions with the memories, and that's where they're stored, and that's where they're given meaning. So I just thought that was super interesting. And yeah, so I learned a lot from this. I had no idea about memories and where they're stored or how it really happens, but it's all there, right there in the amygdala. So yeah, that was my what I learned for today, and that's my discussion post. So thanks.